Hello, my lovely wolf pack, and welcome to the Lone Wolf Show, brought to you by Wolfpack Media, the most entertaining place on YouTube for your news and commentary. I'm your host, Justin Huseman, founder and news contributor. We have a great show today, and I can't wait to get started. But before we do, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Alright, guys, we have a pretty good show for you today. I've been spending all day having some pretty bad technical difficulties, but so we're a little late coming to you guys, and once again I wasn't able to get to my morning show like I wanted to, but we're gonna keep working on it. But at least I'm gonna get you a video out every single solitary day. I will try to get it around din time, but like I said, today we're a little late because of technical difficulties. We're having internet issues here at the Wolfpack. Anyway, let's get right into the news. Okay, we got this first article from Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, we got this first article from CBS News. Tulsi Gabbard confirmed and sworn in as director of the National Intelligence Agency. Okay, well, it's I first of all want to say we love Tulsi Gabbard. I do anyway. I was a big supporter of hers back when she ran for president. I call her Rogue. I love her little rogue stripe in her hair. Very cool, very dope. But anyway, let's get to this article here. All right. All right, here we go. The Senate voted to confirm Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence Wednesday, ending weeks of skepticism surrounding her once embattled confirmation and installing her as the leader of the U.S. intelligence community. In a 52 to 48 vote, the Senate confirmed Gabbard's nomination, with one Republican, Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky. We hate that guy around these here parts. Anyway, joining Democrats in opposing her. McConnell said that Gabbard failed to demonstrate that she was prepared for the role. Gabbard was sworn into the role during a ceremony at the White House later in the day, where President Trump said there's nobody like her for this job. Gabbard said she looks forward to being able to help fulfill that mandate that the American people delivered to you very clearly in this election, to refocus our intelligence community by empowering the great patriots who have chosen to serve our country. Gotta love this lady, and I would recommend you guys go watch the swearing in of Tulsi Gabbard, because both President Trump and her had pretty great speeches. I always love hearing from Trump. Obviously, Trump's way of talking just puts a big old smile on my face every time Trump talks. I love his speeches, and Tulsi obviously great too. Anyway, we'll go on with the article. Gabbard was previously seen as one of the most unlikely of Mr. Trump's picks to get through the Senate. Though she served in the Army National Guard for more than 2 decades, Gabbard doesn't have a background in intelligence. I love how they had to throw that in there. Fucking FU2 CBS. And she faced scrutiny for a meeting with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad in 2017, as well as her comments about Russia's war in Ukraine, her previous opposition to renewing a key government surveillance authority, and push to pardon National Security Agency whistleblower Edward Snowden. Which, shout out to Edward Snowden. I like him a lot. I think what he did was brave, and I don't see it as traitorous whatsoever, though it was technically illegal what he did. I sometimes I think that, I don't know, sometimes I think as a journalist and somebody here really covering the news at Wolfpack Media, I think it's kind of our job to exercise that First Amendment right by, if we get something from somebody, we share it with you guys here. But yeah, it's interesting that Tulsi got in. We got one of the more moderate former Democrats. Now she's on the red team. She wears that red dress instead of that blue dress. uh, I'm liking that, but I liked her back when she was a Democrat too, because she was one of the more uh, moderate Democrats. Wasn't so crazy on all this woke stuff. Wasn't so crazy on some of the policies. I will disagree with her on some of her policies, but as a veteran in our military, somebody who served our military for over 2 decades, and somebody that really championed for free speech when she was running for president. It's another big win for Trump and for us that support the first America First MAGA movement. I think she's gonna do great, and we need some of these agencies cleaned up. Somebody that's willing to stand up for what's actually right, that has some sort of morals. I'm always excited for a veteran in some of these seats of power, just because, especially like Pete Hegseth, some of these people that have a military background, but not like as like higher up military people that like actually spent time with their boots on the ground, like Pete Hegseth, like Tulsi Gabbard, that like a lot of people from my generation after 9/11 went and joined the military for that cause, for that very cause, to just go and serve their country and like boots on the ground. Not just most of the people that we get in that are like general 5-star generals and stuff like that, they tend to people that have never like Tim Walz trying to come out here and tote his military background when his military background was here in the States in a leadership position, like never had boots on the ground, decided to dip out of the military right before the war in Iraq started. And that kind of stuff, to me, that's not real military leadership. I like to see sergeants and captains on the ground actually doing the war fighting, and then later in their careers having them being installed in positions of leadership. Like if you haven't started off at the bottom as just like a regular soldier, a private in the military, and then worked your way up through, not just by working your way up through, but by actually being in on the ground combat operations, it seems like something that like I like to see. That's why I love Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard in these positions of power, because they actually spent time like seeing some of the wild stuff. And it might I think sometimes being on the ground in war, in combat, that can actually affect your ability for leadership. You know what I'm saying? It can make you more prepared to lead others, especially in some of these higher positions within our government. Like say what you want, but I think of people in our government kind of like Eli Crane, and he's really cool. I love him. Go check him out. He's all over the internet. One of the people in our government. But like how those kind of people that have that sort of lower tier experience in combat are perfect for these positions where they're leading our military. Like, it doesn't make any sense to have people that had really cushy jobs throughout the military to be sitting here in positions of power that never actually like was with the grunts on the ground. Anyway, yeah, we should move to our next story here. I gotta pull up something here. Pardon me while I try to doink around with the internet here. This is why we've had such problems getting news to you guys, especially in the mornings, and obviously I'm late with this one now, but We got some slow internet issues, but we're working on it. Anybody who tells you that starting a YouTube channel is easy is lying, especially if you have no media experience whatsoever. I would recommend, if you haven't gone to college for journalism or media in any way, don't do this. No, but I'm kidding. But anyway, let's go here. We're gonna talk about Trump apparently today. Ooh, I got the wrong one here. Trump apparently today talked to President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, today on the phone. And yeah, it seems like things are going well in that regard. JD Vance and Marco Rubio will be meeting with Russian officials on Friday to delegate peace talks with Ukraine. And I'm here for that, man. Like, more and more wins. Like, are you guys tired of winning yet? I'm not tired of winning yet. Anyway, here's what Trump had to say on his Truth Social. He said, I just had a lengthy and highly productive phone call with the President Vladimir Putin of Russia. We discussed Ukraine, the Middle East, energy, artificial intelligence, and power of the dollar, and various other subjects. We both reflected on the great history of our nations and the fact that we fought so successfully together in World War II. I'm often thinking that, like, why are we enemies with Russia? Like, didn't they help us beat the Nazis? Why is our intelligence apparatus of our government so concerned with the Russians? Like, I get it that they have a communist government and all that, and I'm not a fan of that. I love capitalism, I love America, I love our values, but also I don't see why we're beefing with Russia. They're their own sovereign nation. They make their own rules and laws, and they can do what the hell they want, just like we can do whatever the hell we want here. Anyway, let's get back to that. Back to what he was saying. Successfully together in World War II, remembering that Russia lost tens of millions of people, and we likewise lost so many. We each talked about the strengths of our respective nations and the great benefit that will someday have that we will someday have in working together. But first, as we both agreed, we want to stop the millions of deaths taking place in the war with Russia, Ukraine. President Putin even used my very strong campaign motto of common sense. We both believe very strongly in it. We agree to work together very closely, including visiting each other's nations. We have also agreed to have our respective teams start negotiations immediately, and we will begin calling President Zelensky of Ukraine to inform him of the conversation, something which I will be doing right now. I have asked Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of the CIA John Radcliffe, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and Ambassador and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to lead the negotiations, which I feel strongly will be successful. Millions of people have died in a war that would not have happened if I were president, but it did happen, so it must end. No more lives should be lost. I want to thank President Putin for his time and effort with respect to his call, and for the release yesterday of Mark Vogel, a wonderful man that I personally greeted last night at the White House. Believe this effort will lead to a successful conclusion, hopefully soon. Like, this is great. This is more and more wins, more promises kept, or promises made, promises kept. Which, will I remind you, at least in my past 33 years on this goddamn earth, that no president has ever come in, no politician that campaigns on something actually comes in and I think about the disaster of the Barack Obama administration. How the hell we voted for him twice makes no sense. Like, he talked good. Like, trust me, I'm one of those guys that used to be like a little bit more left leaning back in my younger years, and I was on the Obama train. Like, he was a real well spoken, and he was younger. He preached kind of these these values that I thought I believed in. I really believed in some of these values back in the day, but the older I get, I guess the more I'm a millennial, so it's interesting. They say that about our generation that millennials like start off left leaning, and by the time they get into their 30s, they're conservative, and it's true. There's a lot of things to blame for that, but yeah, it's a time that we're living in, and once again, I'll say with this Russia Ukraine war and Trump talking to Putin, this is great. I love to see it. Anyway, I want to get to my last little subject here. I'm kind of running the clock on this a lot longer than I wanted to, but let's kind of get to this. This whole story is making me mad. Kind of this what's going on with Doge and trying to cut government spending in the government. Wow, I am not doing the internet very well right now. Let's see if I can go back to my inbox here. Is it this one I'm trying to look for? This is the one I'm trying to look for. All right. Anyway, like what's going down with Doge and all this stuff being blocked by mostly left leaning Democratic judges trying to block all of the Trump administration's efforts to completely annihilate and reform some of these agencies within our government that honestly I think they need to go. All of these, like, to be really honest, like, we can delegate. It's not like I'm talking about getting rid of completely some of these programs, but like we at least need to annihilate the agencies that these programs reside in and redelegate some of these programs to agencies that we already have within our executive branch of our government. It makes zero sense why we have to be so big and have so many of these different agencies to delegate all these different things when it's like anyway, I'm getting off on a rant. I should get to the story. So anyway, we're talking about like all the judges and stuff. We have this tweet from I shouldn't call it a tweet. Sorry, Elon. We have this X post from Charlie Kirk saying a federal judge has ruled that President Trump does in fact have constitutional authority to freeze or limit certain federal funding. This means the Trump White House can withhold funding without the district court's prior approval, which since Andrew Jackson has always been. And I would recommend you go and look up like some of the things that Andrew Jackson did within the executive branch during his presidency. Like ever since him, like I feel like these judges that are going on here, and I'm gonna give you a list here in a second about like how all these judges and all these things that they're trying to block, acting like the way it seems like I was talking to you guys about in one of the previous videos, how they're basically trying to turn the executive branch of our government into like this ceremony. Like the president of the United States is like a ceremonial position where he gives speeches, goes to parties, kisses babies, those type of things. And that's not what the president of the United States does. That's not his duties. He is the commander of the entire executive branch of our government, and like these judges trying to basically come out here and say that the executive branch has basically virtually no power whatsoever is completely asinine. Like, yes, but like we have checks and balances, but the judiciary does not trump the no pun intended, the executive branch of our government. Like they're all meant to kind of like hit each other running, but none of them have like overbranching authority. Like the judiciary does not have the overbranching authority of our executive branch. But anyway, let me give you I got a list here. I always come with notes. I got a list here of some of these things that these judges are doing to block the popular mandate. So we got a Biden judge blocked Trump's halt on federal spending. A Clinton a Clinton judge in Massachusetts blocks plan for a buyout to federal workers. An Obama judge in New York blocked both Doge and the Treasury Secretary from accessing internal Treasury records. That makes zero sense whatsoever that the Treasury Secretary has no access to the Treasury records. This is completely mind-boggling. But we got also Biden judge in Massachusetts blocked Trump from cutting billions of dollars in fraudulent spending. And then we got this judge here. I'm going to name call him because this is really messed up and it makes absolutely no sense. This judge, his name is John Bates, ruled that Trump is not allowed to remove websites controlled by the White House. Like, so basically what all these judges are saying is that the executive branch has zero powers, and I don't know. I would recommend to you, Donald, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, that you need to just completely ignore these judges' rulings because the judiciary of the United States does not decide what the executive branch does. That's not how it works. But yeah, it's crazy. It's been a pretty interesting news day. It started off pretty slow, but we were able to get you guys a lot of news here today. So let me know what you think in the comments and stuff. But we gotta let you go here, guys. I've gone way over the allotted amount of time that I was trying to do on this video, but I was trying to get a lot out to you. Anyway, thanks for joining us. You can follow us on X and Facebook, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to us here on YouTube. We really appreciate the support. See you next time. Peace.